Looks pretty good. I'm excited. This is always my favorite
My
part.
hair lately is just a mess.
Your hair.
Look at this.
Are you looking at your hair?
Yeah, I'm like, what a mess. Excuse me. Sorry.
All right, you ready?
Oh my God.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another pre-US Open discussion. In this sense, we are going to be, at the beginning of the show, putting out the rules and what you have to do to qualify to win over $400 in cash and prizes for this upcoming US Open. All right. Really fun time. Always a really, I guess, entertaining type competition. So listen closely if you decide that you want to play these fantasy teams and cash giveaway competitions. Okay. There will be random prizes given throughout the U.S. Open as well. So I have like random sets of strings that I'll be sending out. We have 5K tennis shirts, Y-Tech shirts, and also random cash prizes will be given out throughout the U.S. Open. All right. There's only one thing that you need to do to qualify, and that is subscribe. So once the U.S. Open starts, if you are a subscriber, then that is all you have to do to qualify to compete for the two different competitions. All right. I'm going to start with the rules right now. The first thing I'm going to tell you is the simple one, and they're both simple. I think the biggest prize is what a lot of people focus on. And for the U.S. Open, it's going to be a $300 pot. So $300 in cash, but we've added more to this prize pot for this competition. So, and if there's some noise next door, it's at the other house is getting worked on. Okay. So
for a year now.
For a year. Let's go. All right. So $300 in cash is one of the prizes for the first competition. I'm putting this racket up, which is a 2007 Babolat Pure Aero or Aero Pro Drive, as they were called then. This was an original Rafael Nadal's first racket, right? It's in mint condition. So yes, $300 is a lot of money if you want that, but this racket sold even on eBay in this mint type condition. It's probably worth about $400. Also, in this same competition, I'm going to throw out a reel of Y-Tech strings. So 660 feet of Y-Tech strings. Now, why would I want this? Well, if I'm a stringer and I'm selling string jobs for $35, $40 a piece, this is 17.7 rackets. So what's that, about $595? So this is worth about $600 if you're a stringer. Okay. All right. So how do we qualify for these? Easy. When the draws come out, if you're subscribed, in the comment section on this video, you are going to predict the men's final of the U.S. Open and the women's final of the U.S. Open and both winners. So if I think Djokovic is going to play Zverev and I think Djokovic will win, then I will put that in comments. For the $300 cash or whatever you choose, I want Djokovic playing Zverev with Djokovic winning. But I have to choose the women's too at the same time, so you have to be perfect on both. And let's say I think Serena Williams will beat Naomi Osaka, right? Then I would write that in the comments as well. If you nail them correctly, the finalists and winners, you will win the $300. Now, if there is a tie, if there's multiple people that have the same teams or the same predictions, then we go to the fantasy teams to break the tie. Can you all hear me through that noise, or should I tell them to chill? Because it's pretty loud. Should I ask them?
You should have told them earlier.
Here, just let me see if I can get them 5 minutes.
Is the noise too loud? Can you hear him, guys? I'm watching Justin walk over, frustrated. Let's see if we can hear it. Stop for a second. Let's see. Can we? No. The sound is fine. That's what I thought. I didn't think it was too loud. So Thomas, I was asking you, how old is your brother now? Tennis videos. Have I seen you before? I don't think I have. How's everybody doing today? Did everybody enjoy the Nadal match against Lloyd? Chuku says, well, I think I need to see the draw before I can predict. though. I don't like predicting. Yeah, predicting is tough, and I think U.S. Open is one of the toughest.
All right.
They were cool with that?
I just, I had to. I couldn't hear myself think. We moved back into this house after being destroyed in a hurricane, and we pay rent now, and you can't even have a moment of peace. Anyway, all right. So I told you how to win the $300 or the tennis racket, whatever you choose, or the reel of strings. Okay. If there's a tie, we go to the fantasy teams. All right. The fantasy teams is a separate competition in of itself, so you don't have to play fantasy team. I'm just telling you that the tie will be broken there on the fantasy teams. If you don't play and someone played and you both win the $300 or whatever, then that other person will win. So just telling you. All right. So how do we play the fantasy teams? It's simple. Okay. First of all, listen closely, right? A lot of times we get all the teams written down and we realize that there's mistakes on people's teams, and then we have to go back and correct them. But the thing is if we don't catch the mistake before the first ball is struck at the US Open, then you're out, because there are no changes allowed to your fantasy team or your finalists and winners once the first ball is struck. So if you're doing your team and you pick a couple people that don't work and we don't catch it prior to the first ball being struck, then we will just remove those players that didn't work, and you'll be playing with just a part of a team, and that never wins, so you'll just be removed. Okay. All right. So listen up. There are three of us that keep these scores. Myself and Carla is one. Thomas Chi in Canada, and also Dusan Dramakanine. I think he's in Slovenia. They do it computerized. I do it by hand. So between the three of us, I think we do a pretty good job. We work very hard in keeping up with this and entering your teams into play. So we ask you kindly to show us the same respect and put your picks and selections in neatly and organized. Okay. Don't just throw it in a big mess and expect us to figure it out.
Here, I'm going to say it in a nicer way. Please use your brains. It's not hard. The instructions are not hard. Follow it.
Yeah.
I would say if it's up to me, but he's nicer than I am, you mess up, that's on you.
Yeah. If we missed them for the past 3 years, we've done pretty good at catching them. But it's a lot of work, and we will continue to try to catch them. But if we miss them, and it happens every year, I think I removed 3 or 4 out just the last tournament that I didn't catch, and I had to remove them because there's no sense of keeping up with their score if they're so far behind, right? Okay. Listen up. Wait until the draws come out. By the way, there's no way you can predict anything without seeing the draw. I mean, you could, but it won't work. Wait till the draws come out. All right, fantasy teams. You are going to select 9 men and 9 women. So you're going to have a total of 18 players. 9 men, 9 women. Okay. You can only have a maximum of 4 players seated in the top 20. Now, note that I said seated and not ranked. That's important because sometimes there's a player ranked number 24 in the world and they come in seated like 19 because, maybe some people didn't play or whatever. Wait till they come out. You can only have a maximum of 4 players seated in the top 20 in the draw. Okay. You can have as many players that you want seated outside of the top 20. And on each men's and women's team, you must choose 1 qualifier or wild card. Now, let me expand on this. Why? Okay, if you're playing a bunch of 1-point players, now I didn't tell you the scoring here. Each player seated inside the top 20 is worth 1 point per match that they win. Any player seated outside of the top 20 is worth 2 points per match win. And your 1 mandatory wild card or qualifier that you'll select is worth 3 points per match win. Okay. So someone like Djokovic worth 1 point every match he wins. Someone like Raonic, if he's number 25 or something, would be worth 2 points per every match win. So a 1-point player, you could get going all the way to the semifinals and you get 6 points, right? But I can have a 2-point player make it to the 3rd round and have this, or the 4th round and have the same amount of points. So strategically, a lot of the people that sit down and look at their draws and select the most 2-point players that have a chance to get deep in the draw end up winning, but not always. Okay. So what I did is I wrote a hypothetical team that you could hypothetically follow. And this is how you would turn it in the comments. This is how you would submit it to us and us be happy about it, right? So I would write, hey, 5K tennis, here's my men's team. Djokovic, Zverev, both 1-point players. My 2-point players, Yannick Sinner, Sonego, Fritz, Opelka, Isner, Ranich. My 2-point. I have no idea if Karlovic, Evo, the mighty Evo, will be playing, but I just wrote, hypothetically, Ivo Karlovic would be my wild card, and he's my 3-point player. And then I would do the same thing for the women's team. Say I wanted Serena and Osaka. Those are my 2 1-point players. And then you write the list of your 2-point players, and then your wild card or qualifier. And it makes it much easier to write them down and to keep up with it.
3 points is just 3 points is just what? The qualifiers.
For 3 points, the 3-point players is your qualifier or wild card, okay? So you'll have 9 men and 9 women. On each of those teams, you'll have, X amount of 1-point players and 2-point players, but you must have 1 wild card or qualifier. So when the draws come out and you see the list of wild cards and qualifiers, so you'll have to wait till qualifying ends. Look who's hot in qualifying, or look who's a solid player like Samsonova for, what was it, the French Open or something? Wimbledon. But wait until the draws come out. Look at your wild card list. Look at your qualifier list. And you must pick 1 woman wild card or qualifier and 1 male wild card or qualifier. Every match that player wins is worth 3 points a piece. So look at Goran Ivanisevic. That won Wimbledon as a wild card. If that was now, holy cow, you'd have 21 points from your wild card player. Okay. Now, it's not smart, in my opinion, to pick a bunch of 1-point players. Let's say I pick Djokovic, Zverev, Nadal, and Felix Auger-Aliassime, and all of them but 1 lose in the first week. Then I've got almost nothing left. So strategically studying the draws and finding those 2-point players that will go deep, and limiting your 1-point players to maybe 1 or who you think will make the final. But hey, there have been people that have won this with max 4 seated in the top 20 on the men's and women's side. So it's strategy. You'll definitely have to do your homework on this one. Did I miss anything?
I don't think.
Did I miss anything? No. Let's see. I don't think you can have a maximum. I think I've covered it. Seeded, any player, 1 wild card strategically. I said that. Don't forget that it's all of us that play, and we average usually about 40 players. Usually about 40 of us play this, and all 40 of us that play, believe me, we study the comments on the video that we enter our teams in, because we want to see who we're competing against. Some of the best conversations we have had with people over the past 3 years doing the show, 3.5 now, are some of the lead ups to matches. Like, Carla, you got Felix and I got Ranich, and they play tomorrow. I hope I win. And then we start getting into, well, Felix needs to do this and Ranich needs to do that. But some of the most are some of the greatest conversations we have on this channel are from doing the fantasy and tennis racket giveaway competition. So again,
so what Alex PR said, let me try again. So what about protected ranking? Or
that has nothing to do with when you get the draw. When you get the draw in your hand, the seeds will be there. Forget about protected ranking. It has nothing to do with the world ranking. It does, but what the seeds are in the tournament. When the draw comes out, it is finite unless there's a lucky loser. And by the way, if you have a player and they pull out at the last second, it's up to you to find out and replace that player. Otherwise, you will play with that lucky loser. Okay. Protected ranking, all that, that doesn't matter. Once the draw's out, it's there. The number 1 seed's not going to change in the middle of the tournament. The draws come out. Players seeded within the top 20 are worth 1 point per match win. Players seeded outside of the top 20, and you can have as many of those as you want. You can have 8 out of your 9 players, all 2-point players. Remember, one of your players has to be a qualifier, a wild card. But you can have on your women's team 8 players seeded outside of the top 20, all worth 2 points apiece, and then your 1 qualifier or wild card that's worth 3 points.
See how the glitches. There we go.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. Anyway, do you think I covered it?
Yeah, I think so.
So anyway, if you have any questions, put them in comments here so we can. And I hope we didn't get delayed. Our internet here is kind of is kind of sucky. But put any comments that you have in the comment section here. Once the draws come out and you select your teams, put them in the comments here. And we'll do a couple more videos keeping up with score and so forth. And then we just kind of morph them into our regular show. But early on, it takes a lot of time to keep up with it. So we'll do separate videos, normal show stuff and fantasy team videos for the first, day or two of the US Open. And then we'll just put the score updates towards the end. The first couple of days are usually really intense with the fantasy teams. A couple people might, get bailed out on the first day. So the first couple of days, we're really turning and burning, keeping up with scores. Second week, usually the leaderboard is there, and then the leaders are competing to win, generally.
Okay, so that's the question you're trying to ask me. Something about lucky loser. Can a protected ranking or lucky loser be worth 3 points? No. Forget about all
that. Don't overthink it.
You're overthinking it.
It's simple.
It's a qualifier.
Yeah.
And a wild card.
Put it this way.
That's it.
When you get the draw in your hand and you're looking at it, or if you print it out, you're looking on the computer, that's your choice right there. There is no forget. You're thinking way too much. You just look at the seeds on the left side of the draw and be like, there's my seeding. Okay. I can pick maximum of 4 and just fill it out. But protected ranking, all that, it's irrelevant here. When the draw comes out, there it is. It's finite. The only way a draw changes is if someone gets hurt and there's a lucky loser prior to it beginning. Otherwise, it's a walkover. So don't overthink it. Just pick nine men, 9 women. One of those men and one of those women must be a qualifier or wild card. No protected ranking thing.
No lucky loser.
Yeah. And if you have a player that you select and then the night before, I picked this player and I turned it in, but this player just got hurt, then you need to find out and change it, and then change it in the comments and let us know that you changed it.
Ryan, we're talking about the fantasy, the rules. So you're going to have to rewind back.
Yeah, just rewind it to the beginning.
Yeah, it's where Justin explained it. It should be pretty easy. It should be elementary.
Yeah, this is just the fantasy team competitions for. Oh, and by the way, on the fantasy team, we know that for the biggest pot, $300, realist strings, a new tennis racket of your choice, whatever it is, we'll send it to you. Your brand will send it right from the manufacturer. There will be 2 winners on the fantasy teams. 2. Both first and second place will choose either between $50 US. We'll send it to you Venmo, PayPal, something like that, whatever, Cash App. 2 $50 winners, or I will send you 5 sets of Y-Tech strings. So 5 sets, okay? 5 sets. I'll send them to you, or I'll do $50 worth of 5K tennis merchandise. So we have a lot of 5K tennis merchandise. Or I'll send you a little bit of both of a Y-Tech strings apparel and 5K tennis merchandise. So I'll let you guys choose that. Now, my favorite thing is the Babolat 2007 Aero Pro Drive. Again, this is in mint condition. I got it with a Babolat Star 5 stringing machine that I had, and it's been mint. I have a couple more that I play with, but nonetheless, this one right here is what I would take because it's valuable in its condition, especially if you sold it on a platform like eBay. Yeah, and I can authenticate it. So, all right. Look, I had a couple things to talk about. I'm gonna wait and talk about it on the next show. But last night I turned on the tennis channel and Eugenie Bouchard was commentating. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. This is someone that I used to not watch because she has no rear end, but we used to laugh at her because she went she went from that's the OG one too. This is the 2007 for sure. Anyway, we're gonna talk about our thoughts on Eugenie Bouchard in the commentator booth. Like, what is the tennis channel thinking? Also, Rafael Nadal lost last night to Lloyd Harris. Not really a big deal. We talked about on yesterday's show that it wouldn't be surprising if Nadal, lost really early in all these tournaments leading up to the U.S. Open. And I think we'll talk more about that on the next show as well.
So this is just about fantasy.
Oh, I mean, ask them. Do they want to talk?
I think they care more about talking than the fantasy stuff.
Okay. Well, that's what this show was about. This was about Nadal's the fantasy rules.
Yeah, his serve. Chuku, you're right. His serve is the biggest concern now. Yeah. Michael Walker says Nadal has been having problems with his nerves from January when he lost to Tsitsipas in Australia from 2 sets up. I don't know that he's dealing with nerves. I don't think that's what it is. I think his serve has always been an issue. I think in men's tennis, you need a serve. If you don't have a serve, you're in trouble. Chuku says Nadal's still having serve issues. He's finding it hard getting in first serve, hence finds it difficult holding serve. Yes, agree.
I still can't get over Eugenie Bouchard and
I
still can't get over her commentating on the Tennis Channel.
When they hire people, they should hire them because they've been in the game for a long time.
She has, but
she sucks. Davenport's played for a long time, a Grand Slam champion. Shanda Rubin never won a slam, but was always one top American player and always did well, was consistent. Someone like Hanchikova, you can understand when they hired her. You know, she's a great commentator. Bethany Maddox-Sands, a double specialist. But this girl, it's like you hear her, it was like, I was like, damn. I was like, she's not even pretty.
Well, she was nervous. You could tell she was nervous.
She has no personality. And why am I watching this girl? Didn't she I don't know.
No, the issue for me has nothing to do with all of that. I mean,
well, she hasn't proven herself in tennis.
There was a time where I was green as a coach, and I got past that. I don't care about her being green as a commentator, and she sounded nervous. My point is that this is the person, yes, that made it to a Wimbledon final in 2014, and she lost to. Who knows? Was it Kvitova or something, or Serena maybe? Anyway, but my problem is that this individual has been the laughing stock of tennis fans for a long time because she has. I mean, we have comically joked about this for a long time. She has sold herself out to show pictures of her butt.
I don't have an issue. That's not my issue.
But what I'm saying is, why is the Tennis Channel putting a bimbo at this point? No offense. On what are they trying to achieve here? So we have to listen to Chris Evert being snooty, and now we have to listen to Eugenie Bouchard, who for the past multiple years just takes pictures of her ass all the time and plaster them over Instagram. So what is the Tennis Channel thinking? That's all I'm getting at.
With that.
But what is that? Is that what they're doing? Or is the Tennis Channel putting her on just to try to gain male viewers or something? And she's not even hot, by the way.
You are tough.
I'm just saying.
Chuku says no. Alex says no. Okay. Alex Criar said, could Zverev win the U.S. Open after winning gold?
It's possible.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
It's possible. But the thing you run into here is the damn best of 5 thing. The best of 5 is really tough if you're playing Djokovic. And it's really tough if you're playing Nadal. Now, look, the Nadal's lost to Lloyd Harris. When I was watching it, and we watched this match, I never really thought I was really that into the match in the first place. In other words, when I was watching, I wasn't like, I was watching a match, but it didn't seem like, I was watching Nadal being electric or something. I don't feel like, he was at the level of game when he plays like Djokovic. I think he kind of played down to Lloyd Harris's level, and I think he just lost and didn't really care too much about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Let me read a comment that I just read, actually. It popped up on our channel. Let's see. Tennis Fosbo says, I think she's recovering from surgery or something. Plus, let's be honest, she's very attractive.
Who said that?
Eugenie Bouchard.
Who thinks she's attractive?
Tennis Fuzzball.
Do you really think she's hot for real? I just don't. I mean, look, Carl and I are very objective about that type of thing.
I think she's very normal. Very normal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look,
I don't think she's very. Okay. There's some.
She's not.
There's some sports commentators like, what's her name? Erin, like the football one. You can say, wow, she's attractive. She's magnifying.
Oh, the NFL commentator.
Yeah, she's Eugenie Bouchard is just any other girl.
And who is
walk by? I'm sorry.
Who is the young lady?
I mean, they were better off calling. Hey, Anna Kournikova, can you work on Tennis Channel because we need the viewers? Guarantee.
Well, and also, it
would have worked.
You know who has a beautiful wife that's also a really good commentator? She's on ESPN. Isn't Jalen Rose's wife she's like Italian or no? She's not Spanish, I don't think. But doesn't Jalen Rose, the ex-NBA player, she's the Latin, I don't know if she's Latin or not, but she's on ESPN all the time.
Chuka, what I mean is that if they were trying to get more viewers, Eugenie Bouchard is not the way to go. They need to call Sabatini or, hey, Ivanovic, can you help us out here? Or
Okay.
And according Maria Sharapova, who's better looking, can you like help us out here a bit? Like pick somebody like that.
Well,
you know?
look, you're missing. I think everybody's missing the point here.
It's not, but it's not about looks.
Can I get something out?
But it's about.
I've been trying to.
Talent,
And you interrupt me.
yes.
I think every time. Ivanovic and Sabatini have always been very distinguished and very professional and very elegant, and they have been that way their entire careers as far as we have known them, right? I named one of our daughters. We have 5 children. One of my daughters is named Gabriella. We named her after Gabriella Sabatini. Fact, swear. Anyway, but Bouchard has never presented herself as a consummate professional in terms of her trade. She did really well as she was young. She plastered herself all over billboards after that, just like Kournikova did in a way. But Bouchard, when you see her in the booth, you're not respecting her about her profession as now being in the booth, because you're still laughing about her last Instagram post where she stuck her ass up next to, whatever somewhere. So what I'm saying is, when I'm trying to watch someone break down the game, that's great. It doesn't matter if you were an athlete before, or if you were great in the game before. It'd be better that I didn't know you at all, to tell you the truth, because then I can't judge you. However, Bouchard has been a clown, and I mean clown, for a while. And now I got to lap up her trying to tell me about tennis. I wouldn't have Bouchard train my damn freaking iguana how to damn take a shit. And now I got to watch her on the tennis channel. And then I get a side order of Chris Everett after. I mean, I'm getting served shit on a slab all day long.
Yeah, she's injured. Yeah, they did that with Sloane Stevens. They let her commentate. We still talk about commentary. Anyways, I don't really watch it on his channel, because a lot of the times I find some of that stuff very stupid there. But let me read this comment, because these guys are getting a kick out of it. All right. Her name is Joanna Sa, and we've heard from her before. She's a viewer. And I'm going to read her comment.
And I like Joanna a lot.
Because it deserves to be read. Hi there. About Federer, I think that he should say goodbye gracefully and grateful for an amazing career he had. Not many have such a privilege, luck, and opportunity. About knee injuries, unfortunately, I know a thing or two about it. Had 3 surgeries on both knees.
Me too.
And they never will be as before. The only safe sport for me now are cycling and swimming. About transgender male competing as women, it's so unfair. I remember once the race with Semenya and 2 other athletes that looked like men on 800-meter race. The rest of the flock didn't have a chance from the start. Well, Carla, what a vengeful spirit you have towards some players. Don't worry, you're not the only one that talks a bit silly after imbibing. I'm in that club too. Rules should apply to everyone. Doesn't matter if they are number 1 in the rankings or 789. If racket throwing would be punished more severely, losing points or such, that could stop this ugly habit of some. Yep. Or maybe Djokovic, Medvedev, and the likes should start a new sport. Racket throwing Olympics could give them a chance, perhaps. Well, my Olympic tennis hopes were washed away quite easily. Maybe next time. Hammer throwing is Polish strongest discipline, it seems. 2 gold and 2 bronze medals in both female and male. Runners are not bad too. I'm waiting for the last competition medleys, 4x400 tomorrow. USA seems strong in both, but they lack a real team spirit for me. Individuals may not do the corporation parts best. Let's go, Team Poland.
I love this, man. Bravo.
Wow, she wrote that well, so that's what I'm going to read it.
Okay, so Joanna Sa gave me an idea. Okay, so we know if we tune into the Olympics, we see things like the javelin, and we see things like the long jump, and then they combine these events into one big thing, like the decathlon or something, right? Mm-hmm. Or the Ironman. They throw in cycling, running, and swimming. And then they do all 3 together instead of just specializing in one. Okay, so Joanna Sa, I have an idea, and let's bring this into fruition. Okay, you ready? Let's make like a tennis triathlon. And let's make the competitions this. Number 1, the racket toss. She just said it herself. Djokovic has taken the gold in the racket toss at this Olympics. He already has the medal. The racket toss would be number 1. We'd have to come up with an equal racket weight. So make sure everybody's slinging the same racket, same distance, same altitude, same venue. Okay. Number 2, a screech off. Okay, so the second event in the tennis triathlon, first is the racket toss. Number 2 is the screech off. What? Ah! You get the damn decibel meter. You get, those things where people are like go to a sports event or next to a jet aircraft. They're like, look at the decibels. It's a decibel meter. You get the people. Okay, you go over there and you go over there and here's a screech meter and here's a screech meter. And you guys, and then whoever has the highest decibel level wins the screech off. The next thing in the triathlon, and the last thing is the tantrum toss. Okay, so we toss the racket, but now we got to throw a tantrum. So the player that can do the best at the racket toss, followed by the screech off, followed by the biggest temper tantrum, that is your tennis
the
trial.
best smasher. They should have the best smasher. Don't you think the one that smashes the racket the best?
Would you need a racket helmet for that? Because the racket smash might lead to shards of shrapnel flying everywhere. So therefore, you might need a tennis helmet.
True.
The ball lady at the U.S. Open last year needed a ball/throat helmet, kind of like the catchers, they have the throat flat there. So the face mask catches it. But if it clips off their glove, catches you in the throat, they got that throat protector.
Michael Walker, since you're on and you're in New York and we have cases going up, the U.S. Open still going with the same plans of having all allowing the same amount of people that we normally do?
I like Tenuous Fuzzball's comment that the decathlon winner is the world's greatest athlete. Warner is king. I understood. I'm not sure who the name Warner is. I should study it more. But yes, the people that win the things like the decathlon, you and I watched that last night. The young man, I think he was Canadian.
He was
Canadian, and he won. He was the first person to score, I think, over 9,000 points in the decathlon. Maybe that was Warner. Maybe that's Warner.
That is rough. That was rough. I was tired watching them. I was like, man.
Yeah.
I was tired. But I've been watching this the Olympics, the track. Yeah, the Jamaican women are beasts. But so are the American. They don't fall too far behind. The American ladies are tough.
How did that girl Gabby Thomas do?
She won like bronze.
She get silver or bronze?
Bronze. The other girls made her look like nothing.
She's a pretty girl.
Very pretty. They all are. I looked at all the American track runners. They all are very pretty. All of them. There's one from California, very pretty. But the Jamaican girls, they got it.
And didn't that girl Gabby Thomas go to Harvard?
Yes.
Wow.
Sydney yeah, I saw her. Is a beast on the hurdles. I saw her. Yeah. Those girls,
she won casually by a landslide, didn't she?
Yes.
Going.
Yes, those girls are beasts. I would have to say, Michael Walker, how you like talking about athletes' bodies. I would have to say that track runners beat tennis players and swimmers.
Oh, yeah.
And volleyball players and all the rest. They beat them hands down. Chuku says Novak wins the Smash of the Year, laugh out loud. One strike, total demolition. There was a viewer named Ferratili. He says, you didn't understand. He said, my question, I meant Khachanov. If you look for Khachanov smashing a racket during the Olympics, you won't find it. And he's right. And there's a reason why you could see Medvedev and Djokovic. Djokovic is number one. That's the reason why. He's number one in the world. And he's accomplished so much. Medvedev's got into a few finals. The reason why we won't see Khachanov is because his career really has been sucky. He's not important.
Players like Khachanov, they come on the scene, they're kind of new to everybody, and then eventually they get figured out, and they don't have a whole lot of tools in their tennis toolbox, and they can't, it's like a carpenter coming to fix the roof of your house, but in his toolbox, all he has is a putty knife. Mm-hmm. It's okay if you just need a little spackle, throw it on your roof, but if you got to have another roof, having a putty knife isn't good enough, and that's kind of how Khachanov is, and not just Khachanov, thousands of players that come and go over time. Jannik Sinner is another one. No offense to Jannik Sinner, but he came on the scene, young man, hot, and
did he beat Korda or did Korda beat him?
I don't know. We watched that, and then we kind of lost interest. No disrespect to either player, but they're both big ground stroke guys. They play from the baseline. They're like Medvedev, but not as good. And Medvedev has no net game. So what does that tell you? You've seen them one, you've seen them all. Khachanov is one of those guys, but with the bigger serve. I think Sinner and Korda's ground stroke game is better by far. Khachanov's forehand is really kooky. Khachanov, kind of like Tiafoe, have this big pelting, jerky forehand. But nonetheless, the likes of Khachanov, Sinner, or the likes of what Berdych will one day be. You remember Thomas Berdych, right?
I don't think that we can be so critical of Jack Sinner, though, because
But
he's still young.
Yannick Sinner plays the same game Thomas Burditch plays. Yannick Sinner plays a very similar game to the young Korda. They all play a very similar style. It's nothing new. It's nothing electric. It's the same lunging backhand, the same two hands on the racket where we're lunging up and hitting the ball. Very telegraphed. It's nothing electric. And unfortunately for everyone, I don't particularly care if you agree or disagree. I'm telling you from a coaching standpoint, I've coached at a high level for 22 years, was born into it. My father coached, but I have seen thousands upon thousands of tennis players, whether at local clubs, at challengers, at pro events, at majors. And you can always see the players with the lunging, jumping backhand with the two hands on the racket and the big groundies, the big ground strokes, the big serve. But man, when you meet someone with more tools in the toolbox, the likes of Djokovic, Nadal, and a lot of other players, believe it or not, ultimately they lose. I don't know how else to say it.
Kimiko says, U.S. Open should give admittance to those who can prove that they're vaccinated. Those who cannot should not be admitted. Science shows nearly all hospitals are unvaccinated.
Thank you, Tenuous Fuzzball. Damian Warner won with 9,018 points. That's who we were talking about.
Yes.
The highest ever at the Olympics and the third highest in history. Also, decathletes have the best bodies by far, nice and balanced. I would think Djokovic would be the most well-balanced body on the tour right now as well. Mm-hmm. I think Cam Williams put out a post earlier, and it had pictures of basketball players if they were
the GOAT race.
Yeah.
I
disagreed with his
completely.
I think they had Djokovic and had LeBron underneath
them. That made no sense to me.
Would disagree with that one, respectively.
Yeah, I think he would be more like a Michael Jordan.
I think Djokovic would be like Russell Westbrook, or Jordan would be like, well, I think Federer you would have to say is Jordan.
Probably.
I think Federer would be the most Jordan-esque. Probably. And then I think that Novak Djokovic would be someone like Russell Westbrook with championships. And then Rafa Nadal would be someone like Charles Barkley, maybe, just beasting it out under the rim. You know what I'm saying? That would be my take. Barkley, Nadal. Yeah.
Well, at least he should have put Kobe under Djokovic because Djokovic loves Kobe and it hurt him when he died.
Yeah.
So, anyways, any other topics?
No, that's it. Again, we did this today as a way to go ahead and 3 weeks prior to every major, we go ahead and put out our video for the fantasy teams. 2 winners will win $50, 5 sets of strings, whatever. Just go to the beginning if you're tuning in late. But this was meant to just be that and then stop. But we always love talking to you guys. So make sure to watch this video. I won't do another rules video, but this is going to be the biggest giveaway we've ever done. Over $400 in cash and prizes going out, and some of it random for no reason, just because of a comment and this show. So anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow or the next day, something like that. But we know
Barkley is fat. Nadal isn't. Agreed.
Well, not in his prime. Barkley's an Alabama boy. I followed Barkley since very young, 8, 9 years old. He went to Auburn here, University. We're proud of him in Alabama. He's a little chunky now, but
they're all chunky. Have you guys seen Shaq?
Well, when Barkley came out of Auburn, beast, man. Beast.
Shaq is fat and his girl is not. So what does that tell you?
Yeah. Yeah. We grew up with Barkley here, man. As
Michael always said, Barkley was always fat. Yeah, he was not the fattest.
Yeah, I can show you some pictures of Barkley at some point. Surely I can find where he was, he was always a big dude, but fat is the wrong word. A big dude, yes.
Let's say thick.
Thick. There you go.
Nadal is perfect for Kobe.
But I was trying to find someone that was more like bullish under the rim. And translate it
he wasn't
to
fat.
Nadal.
He wasn't that fat. He wasn't fat.
I already know. Like we watched Barkley many times in person playing for Auburn,
you mean like bulky. That's probably you meant.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Just a big dude.
He had to go on a serious diet when he came to the NBA. Oh, Michael. Oh, I wonder how you are like picking your person, like are you picky? Like do they have to be in shape? Do they have certain legs? I don't know,
It's a great question.
Yeah, I don't know. No, that was perfect for Kobe. All right, you ready to go?
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow or the next day. Back to our normal tennis talk. And again, please think about playing these competitions because they're really fun. And it's really quite simple. I know I take a while explaining them, but again, if you want to win $300, hit the subscribe button and just predict the men's finals and the women's finals and then both winners. And if you get that, you'll win $300 cash or a tennis racket of your choice or a reel of strings or whatever. And if you want to win $50, and two people will, there will be two winners of the fantasy team, regardless of anybody wins the other or not. Just select 9 men's players, 9 women's players. You can only have 4 of them on each team, men's and women's, that are seated within the top 20 that are worth 1 point apiece. As many as you want worth 2 points apiece that are seated outside the top 20. And then you must choose 1 male and 1 female wild card / qualifier that's worth 3 points apiece. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The defending champions from last year's U.S. Open, I don't have them in front of me. I think Casper / AKA Dedseville won. And I forget who the other winner was. Carla and I will compete with you, so let's go, but we will not win our own prizes, obviously. So if I come in second, then I will bow out, and then whoever came in third will take the other $50, hypothetically, right? All right, see you soon. Adios. Let's go. Come on, Ric Flair. Woo! Let's go. Come on. What?